Prior to the rebooting of the franchise in 2016, Hitman Blood Money, which will turn 20 years old this May, was widely considered the best in the series, and to some that's a title it still holds. It's not difficult to see why. I have absolutely no nostalgia for this game. I first picked it up when I was 19 and it was actually the second Hitman game I ever played after Absolution, and I think Blood Money is absolutely fantastic. Now, I don't think Absolution by contrast is a bad game by any means. I actually quite enjoy it, but it and the modern Hitman games are different. Not just in the obvious ways, but more subtly. Modern hardware deals with many NPCs far better, hence why the newer games have way more characters. But this limitation, coupled with Blood Money's open level design and classic PC aesthetics, lead to something that really drew me in from the start. Hitman Blood Money is empty, eerie, and you know I'm gonna say it, liminal. And I actually mean liminal in the more traditional sense, less backrooms and more transitional, transitory, going from one state to the next. Because the design and age of this game necessitates three things. You have to move around between your targets, you have to do so stealthily, or at least that's encouraged, and the hardware couldn't handle 100 NPCs in every corner of the map. So what it leads to is this: eerie, empty expanses, tucked away from the main cores of the mission, designed solely for you to move around out of sight, hiding from the crowds, and they are almost always entirely devoid of people. These are the weird, eerie, and liminal spaces of Hitman Blood Money. The first level is a bit too bright and sunny for our purposes today. While it does have those long, empty transitional spaces I mentioned, they aren't very eerie. If anything, they're actually quite pleasant. The second level, however, is much more fitting. You walk into the theatre, and your target is actually right in front of you. Unlike in the previous level where your objectives are tucked away on the other side of the map, here the man you want to find is right through those doors. You obviously can't just walk in there though, at least not stealthily, which leads us to the belly of the beast. Descending down the side stairs, we encounter this: endless, long, dingy brick hallways, which are almost entirely empty. At one point, there's like 1,000 people building something down here, but there are a dozen tiny dead-end offshoots whose purpose seems a little odd. This room is a personal favourite because it's just used to store the bins. I also really like these staircases. There's a huge amount of floor plan dedicated to them, which to me, a low intelligence, unexperienced non-professional, seems fairly unrealistic. There's another giant staircase in this map. Through a set of double doors we can access this metal behemoth, which leads us up to the roof. In case you're struggling to see it, I've drawn this artist rendition. Finally, we have this. This corridor and the computer room on the end appear to be entirely purposeless on the surface. There's a keycard in here, but it curiously doesn't let you access the door also found in this hallway. That door is instead opened via a rat-based Easter egg, the classic method that all games have, which lets you see a few terrifyingly deformed creatures drink and beat each other to death, which, being from the UK, is a pretty typical night out. In all, I find the theatre from this level a strange and beautiful mixture of dead-end rooms, dark brick tunnels, bright fluorescent corridors, and monstrous staircases. Weird. A Murder of Crows is by far the busiest level in the entire game. These characters are very odd. They aren't proper NPCs, they don't have their own map markers, and they make me very uncomfortable to look at. Hordes of non-sentient creatures, even more non-sentient than the characters surrounding them. Anyways, what I really love about this level can't be found on the street, but instead through these innocuous wooden doors. This one serves as an easy way to sneak into the nearby building, but I'd like just to stand here for a while. I love the light coming from the upstairs window, contrasting with a bright white spotlight illuminating nothing but an open floor, and occasionally a guy really setting the vibe. Across the street we have another hidden quarter. Away from the busy roads we find that these buildings have walled in their own private empty square. There's a balcony you can climb up to get here too, or you can take whatever these things are. There's a couple more of these squares in the level. One has a tree in it, and the other has a couple of guys hanging out with a piano randomly suspended in the air. But my favourite spots are definitely the ones you can find right at the start. Although, the section that has an ominous infrared spotlight on a pile of garbage is a strong contender. Overall, I don't find this level as eerie as the first one. I don't feel like I'm trawling the depths or the back rooms, but I'm impressed by how quiet and empty many of these areas can be despite how uniquely busy this map is. However, if you have a crippling fear of birds, then you may find this level quite unsettling. Look at them. One of, if not the weirdest space that exists in this game, dwells in this level. Entering the building, we can take the lift up and look out the window. The large, grey, flat space for a roof hides what we're interested in today. On the way, we can see another classic bin room, this time stored 7 floors up. How convenient. Not as convenient, of course, as these gated stairs to absolutely nowhere. If we go back down and make our way to the back of the building, we'll find that we actually need a disguise in order to get where we want to go. So once you either run for it or make the appropriate preparations, we can finally see what we've worked so hard for. This. I do not understand why this is here. It's hard to get to, and it requires you basically going out of your way entirely. The target you want sits right here. You have to do everything you need to do in order to get to him, and then ignore him entirely in favor of yet another long stair corridor, leading to this. A flat, featureless grey box with 2 huge AC units. There's nothing else here. You can't do anything that I'm aware of. It's so pointless and strange and hidden away, and the lighting's all weird, and it might be my favourite place in the entire level. Dance with the Devil is probably the most distinctive level in the game, visually. There are 2 contrasting parties themed on heaven and hell with unique outfits and decor and terrifying guard disguises for both. Past the car park, we can find a staircase leading to our first empty space. Here, the corridor is dark and hollow. There's a backup demon door here, essential for basically every building, and the occasional wandering guard. One of your targets actually passes through here, making this probably the most useful corridor in the game, despite its purpose seeming to be just to let you go downstairs without finding a disguise for the elevator. Speaking of that, let's go past this dead-end room used to store a forklift and take the lift to the top. In sharp contrast to the Hell Party and fitting with the dual themes of the level, the empty corridors up here are, in my opinion, absolutely gorgeous. In case it wasn't incredibly obvious, I'm a real sucker for these old PC graphics, and the sunlight peeking through the blinds here is excellent. But even better is the room at the end of the hallway. Here lies a giant office, whose only purpose seems to be to let you access a computer for a few seconds, and the lighting in here is fantastic. I don't want to gush too much over decades-old graphics. I'm sure plenty of you think this looks hideous, but I hope at least a few of you are like me and really appreciate the look of the level. I don't think it helps that I tend to dream of places like this a lot. Tall, blank, high-rise buildings bathed in sunset. I think I might have been a pigeon in a past life. Finally, we come to where it all began. You know what they say? You better watch out. Here we can find endless stairways and silent corridors, a necessity due to how vertical this level is, allowing you to traverse up and down and up and down and across and around and up and down over and 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 over. You better watch out. All of these white bricks have dents in them. They look like wasp nests. You better watch hundreds and hundreds of wasp nests. Up and down and down and up and up and down and down and up. You better watch out. Who's that? You better watch out. Did you notice them? You better watch out. Are you sure? Endless hallways and staircases of white bricks and fluorescent lights, flickering, 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 flickering. You better watch out. Whoa, we're here. My favorite spot in the game. This ledge is exemplary. I love the quiet snowfall and how distant it is from the main building. You can shimmy across this narrow cliff in order to sneak to and from the primary area, but I think it's nice just to come out here and stand for a while, take in the view of the mountains and the lake and appreciate the quiet. These were my favourite empty, eerie and/or liminal spaces in my favourite old Hitman game. It's not difficult to see why so many people consider it the best of the old series, and some might still consider it the greatest, and I think the environments play a massive part in that. The game's own design necessitated plenty of long spaces to traverse up and down and across levels out of sight, and hardware limitations made it easier for these to be almost, if not entirely empty. Blood Money is a big game. The levels at the very least feel way bigger than its sequel, Absolution, and that, in my opinion, results in the environments we've seen today. From the dingy basement of a French theatre with questionable staircase design, to the sunset-filled hallways of American high-rises, Hitman Blood Money contains some of my favourite places in any video game ever. Thank you for watching.